According to CDC, unintentional injury is the #1 leading cause of death among children in the United States. Teaching safe behaviors to children is critical in reducing injury risks. However, that turned out to be a great challenge. For decades, researchers have tried many sophisticated ways to teach our children what to do and what not to do in risky situations, but with limited success in changing their behaviors. Why? Is it because our children are so hard to teach? Or is it possible that we've approached this challenge in a wrong way? Is there a more natural way for us to change children's behaviors and reduce injury risks? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Dog bite injury is a serious problem for rural Chinese children. There is this sheer number of stray dogs in rural Chinese villages, and many children play with those dogs unsupervised. Those children are left behind by their parents who went to big cities for better jobs. Researchers estimated that for every 3 school-age children in rural China, there is 1 who has been bit by a dog. And imagine there are over 100 million school-age children in rural China. So, in 2011, I began my study on pediatric dog bite prevention. I spent the next 10 months beefing up my knowledge on how to prevent dog bite injuries. I read through all the books and safety guidelines available to me at that time. At the end of the 10 months, I was so confident in my knowledge that I was sure I would become a dog bite expert in no time. Therefore, in 2012, I packed my luggage, hopped on a plane, and began my first field trip to rural Chinese villages. 48 hours later, I was sitting in a Chinese hospital for a dog bite injury. Well, how can a dog bite prevention expert got bit by a dog himself? It seems that my expert knowledge didn't help me play safely with dogs at all. It turned out that this question has puzzled many other injury researchers as well. So many educational interventions managed to increase children's safety knowledge, but often failed to change their behaviors. So what's the missing link from knowledge to actions? Plato once said, human behavior flows from 3 main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. It dawned upon me that as a little boy myself, I hated memorizing all the boring rules about how I should behave. Instead, I was always moved and convinced by stories told by my parents about the bad consequences of behaviors by some other kid. Why? Chances are, stories are not only informative, but also emotional. They made me aware of my behaviors. They made me care about the bad consequences. And eventually, they made me desire to change my behaviors. Therefore, to make an intervention on dog bite prevention work, perhaps I can also tell emotional stories to children to make them aware of the injury risk around them, to make them care about the bad consequences, and hopefully to make them desire to change their behaviors with dogs. In other words, the secret ingredient to a successful intervention might just be children's perceived risk of dog bite injury around them. which can potentially be influenced by emotional stories. That hypothesis turned out to be supported by research in both public health and communication psychology. Unfortunately, at that time, I could not find any published intervention based on storytelling. Therefore, I spent 4 months with a professional filmmaker in 2014 studying how to make a documentary video. For the first time in my life, I got to be the screenwriter, the director, the camera operator, and post-production editor. I invited 4 native Chinese speakers to act as a school teacher, a grandmother, a father, and a young mother. Each of them would tell one real-life story about how a kid got dogged by injury in rural China. I also included emotional music throughout each story. And here are some of the moments in those stories. To test the efficacy of this intervention, I designed a 2-group randomized controlled trial. The intervention group would watch the dog bite video, and the control group would watch a similar video but on a different topic, drowning prevention, which is another leading cause of death among rural Chinese children. Under the protection of these 2 videos, I mustered courage and took the second trip to rural Chinese villages. And guess what? Magically, I didn't get bit this time. Of course, I did not forget to share those stories with the 280 rural Chinese children on the east coast of China. And the results were amazing. Compared to the control group, the intervention group not only had significant increase in safety knowledge, but they also had higher levels of risk perceptions and lower levels of risk behaviors with dogs. Well, if storytelling worked for children in China, maybe I can apply this intervention strategy to kids in other cultures as well. Therefore, we made 5 more videos exclusively for American children. And here is one of them.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I'm 7 years old and in 1st grade. But school hasn't been much fun these days because I was bitten by a dog over this summer. I was playing soccer with my friends and I just got home. Usually, our dog buddy would run up to me and we would play. But to my surprise, I didn't see or hear Buddy that day. My mom told me he might be eating a bone in the backyard. She said I shouldn't bother him while he was eating, but I didn't listen. I went to the backyard, and there he was enjoying a big bone. I watched Buddy eat for a while, and then a terrible idea came into my mind. I thought he might let Clay catch with his bone. So I went to grab the bone from him, but he wouldn't let go. So I waited till he dropped the bone, and I quickly grabbed it. But before I could even lift my arm in the air, he jumped up and bit into my arm. Ow! It hurt! The doctor said that Buddy's teeth hit my muscle, which is why I can't write, draw, or play soccer like I used to. It is so terrible. I learned a good lesson. I didn't think about Buddy's feelings. I should have known he wanted to eat his bone and not play with it. Buddy is just like me. I would not be happy if someone took away my yummy food in the middle of eating it. I hope you remember this lesson so you don't get bit like I did. Never pet or play with a dog while it is eating.
Unforgettable experience, isn't it? That, my friend, is the power of storytelling. It once said that everybody experiences far more than he understands, yet it is experience rather than understanding that influences behavior. Storytelling, a technique that we humans have mastered for generations, provides a natural way for us to communicate our experiences to children for safer and healthier behaviors. Moving forward, the power of storytelling can be further unleashed with the help of the latest technologies such as virtual reality. And our team at the Center for Pediatric Trauma Research are working hard towards this goal. Thank you.